ready for my tradition? Well, this is all comes out of the subject of communication, which is life. That's how you life around you. You talk to people and you create things to say. And is this thing on?
Yeah.
It is on. It's kind of
okay. So, life manifests itself in poetry readings and down at the work. It's communication. Now, the only tricky thing about communication is that if the other guy doesn't get it, which
Too stupid anyway.
Which is, but you're not allowed to use excuses. It's just, you're allowed to make him get it somehow. So, let's see if you get any of these. So this girl says, I don't mind being your muse. Just don't write poems about slippers and thighs. Write about how invisible I am. And I went, ah! How do you do that? You can't say anything that you can't see. So, here's a couple of, I'll actually read you the first invisible poem. Her remark was about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, just about the time I was getting a parking ticket from the Forest Service. But it was cheap, it was $6. So, this is invisible poem number 1. You have gone into first green in buds of trees, a bit of sunlight where I touch membranes of soft awareness. Kisses in skin do not mark silence, as this vagrance and scent of nothing ripens depths of goddess. I do not hold your absence, but I see it with my own absence. 2 nothings explode gusts of fragrance. No fingers touch, and pink faces do not read this slippery mood hidden in blossoming silk floss tree trumpets. I am springtime in you. Intelligent light scours through your forests. The water thinks absent horizons, infinity shadows cast by absence. A solid light stands around where you are not. The bodies are separate and far away, not mind. In you are the fragrant lights of thought. If there's anything to bathe in this pool of desire, it bathes without us. You get the absence of this woman? So then I continue writing, and number 8 is the next good one in this series. But you are not invisible. I see you. It has been that sword of sight that has cut me away from my body and into furnaces of your God, where hot steel of stars melts, and I have nowhere to stand except in your invisibility, where we are not. But I bring you seen, not in mirrors, nor in petals of lilacs, but in breath of mountain air, not knowing its own depths, black contusions of basalt and time. I bring you seen in granite winds and rain fires, cutting down the green streams. 2 absences meet in 2 infinities, undefined by life forms, no skin and no touching angles of lips, nothing but wind on a white rose, nothing of snow falling 1 sting at a time. You do not see me, and I do not hold an image of your absence to unsee you. I do see. I take from your distances in strange countries the voice curves of secrets you are not hiding. Take that. Invisible person. I'm not exactly pissed off, but what a thing to ask, right about how invisible I am. So now that I get it to invisible 45, which you'll see in a moment. The lake is frozen and ice is smooth. We begin to slide 3 inches above time, and the lake does not end. At some point we disappear into a warm room with tea steaming and small talk about souls, but really it does no good to describe ourselves. There will be lies and detours in the glide, and we may slip off the edge of history and start making no kind of sense on musical instruments, because people are mist and not cliffs near the sea, and always they are empty unless refilled by daylight and snow falling. We glide quintuple flips and world wars. We slide quintuple flips and world wars, but still unknown, we surprise ourselves with quilts of wind and tide pools, minds lost melting in women, swirls of gowns on a parquet floor of vast currents of water gliding time, ocean deeper and more blue as it inhales. So now, I also have a wisdom sonata series, and this is number 91. Because we are great untruth, and no one can tell a perfect lie which approximates eternal lie, we hold still the winds and make pure blue light in the sea, because we are lost in the last decision to die or love intensely someone who is not here, who may be a prince in the old country. We do not have enough present time to be perfect in eyes and in understandings, and in understanding liquids of a woman and flower roots branching from the sea through the eyes of life. We must abandon hope of ever being, unless other eyes are also willing to be immortal and without dreams. Just when I think I know you, the empty face of God reminds me we are separate eternities. The bridges of our bodies burned down long ago, and what is left is the ocean aching in its long waves against cliffs of being, breaking its memories of sunlight on meadows and streams of snow water, falling in long sweeps over the drowned moon. This is 35 love poems. I'm going to read you one of them here for sure, maybe another one. What place is this before existence? Our bodies only are, our bodies only the scent of lilacs? We know completely. Our lives suddenly everywhere like thought of green. Mauve on mountains. Mauve is pale purple. Mauve on mountains, concept breath of bay laurel trees. I did not bring the seacoast, but you think crashing waves and I feel them rush over me. Love is far down in the sound of raindrops. You show me transparent versions of myself in cities not yet thought of, and we are here like sunrise in the sea. Life voices whisper shadows around us like breezes on leaves. We dissolve into each other as if time were gone, but it is not. We are full of real lands, herds of caribou flanked by wolves, white hawks over crested lakes. I enter you and enter you. Let's read you one more chapter out of Parallel Voyages, number 78. Okay. Extra paper. I thought I had two things together, but only one. Okay. Speaking of dead friends and relatives, we find them strewn in new bodies. Oops. Here and there, not knowing what hit them and who we are that they left behind. Amnesia strikes the light-hearted and the morose with equal disregard. Then slowly, as children regain language and who they are, we build the lost foundations of dances and figurative minds. Songs come back and play arias and solo ecstasies of life again. So experienced in tact and compassion, they do not seem new, but old in ways of knowing, old heartbreaks healing. The war wounds heal, the life rivers flow again over the same rubble of lives, with orchestras playing the minds off the earth into thin dimensions of all-seeing spheres of starfires, waterfalls out of mountain cliffs. We seem so familiar, as if we never left the trees we inhabit. City houses in crowded streets and audiences for wind instruments out of the sea. Currents of love flow from eyes gleaming, and if someone says hello, it is most ancient and most first among the first words of life. The unbuilt universes trace transparent shadow smiles from faces in a crowded market and keep them in as print maps for heaven and rivers of God. The cool skins of creeks and streams jitter with mirrors as they carry reflected skies. Then, when you stand near me, you bring all the exit points with unseen dimensions of friends, long foraging among spring gardens and wisdoms. Silence of kept promises to return immerses us in strange new sky echoes, mountain skies and ocean-carrying winds. If you feel it too, transform your voyages among cliffs and lives into 17 kinds of rain falling on cities in lightning. Take new shapes out of your supply of imagined future worlds. Stand as a smiling woman or fierce man who knows the complete symphonies of the moon. Till truth does come out of its endless source, we'll sing this song of time. Sea waves think and break moist literatures on granite memories of stars. The song goes white in the high voices and black in bolder bassos. Profoundly igneous basalt sheets of lava flow grow solid under the history of Earth and native state of beings. If time is not enough of a record of how we came here, it's present tense. If time is not enough of a record of how we come here, each new time recognition in the eyes is proof of eternal presence among games of awareness of light. Some of us need proof that life exists outside memories of atoms and volcanic lava flows. Matter cannot prove we love. It is too easy to feel, embrace, and throb of ecstasy, the you of you, the continuing flames of you, ember hot under sunlight and green leaves. The boy who plays his violin in the road as people pass, cuts sound shapes out of ears and smoke of wind. He counts 25 beats, then 50 more, and his heartbeat cuts daylight to shreds of people walking around him. All of them know his music is the faith of life. And all of us let him inside the orchestras of starfire and trees standing in old growth storms. We wait for him to remember the firestorms of God, and the tall girl really is more pleasant as she opens the blue day in her gleaming eye voyages. That really happened. I was 6'3". And she said, "Oh, I'm more pleasant because I'm tall." Okay. And so she landed in my poem. I showed it to her. She said, "Oh, that's fun." And way too casual. She wasn't properly dithering.
She needs a tattoo on her shoulder.
Oh yeah, that's the one. That's the kind. Okay. Oh, yeah, I read you one from here. So there's 35 of them. I'm not going to read any more of them today. Next time. Hello there. So that's That's it from me this time, and thank you very much for listening. Bye.